Hey everyone, Captain Dave. It's been a while. Been working on my latest electrical conversion here. Actually a full restoration. This time it's a Compac 23. I always wanted to do one of these. I've calculated that this is about the perfect candidate for an electric sailboat conversion. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know I've done a couple others. I did my Compac 16 gumdrop, which was easy. That was just really putting an electric outboard on. I also did an Island Packet 27, which was the larger sailboat that I did. But this one has been my most challenging. I had budgeted 4 months, and it took me, well, it's taken me about 14 months now, well over a year. I did have an injury in there, so that kind of slowed me down a little. But in any event, in this video here, I'm going to just kind of go over the restoration and the electrical installation. This is a 23D, or it was a 23D, I should say. It's now, I'll call it a 23E, because it's got that electric drive. It's got that inline, inboard. It's got that inboard drive system, that the old diesel was attached to, but I've hooked an electric motor up to it, a 5 kilowatt system. I'll show all the details here for both the electrical installation and the restoration. Quick look at the boat. I've still got a couple little things to do. I'm about to put on the foiled rudder. My experience with my gumdrop here, the gumdrop, was that adding that foiled rudder made a huge difference in sailing performance and how close I could get to the wind and comfortably turning the boat around. So I decided I'm not even going to waste my time on this boat. I'm going to put the foiled rudder on, so I'm going to put that on today. I also need to put the swim ladder on the back and a little paint touch up here. Hardest part of this restoration became the paint job. When I saw this boat, I drove all the way up to Alabama to get this boat, and when I saw it, I thought I was going to be doing just a little bit of gel coat cleanup, and sanding, but maybe buffing it clean. But as I kind of started digging into it, I realized it was going to require a lot more than that, because the gel coat had been sanded so much in the past that it had gone right the way through in some areas. So it needed a complete paint job, which I'm not very good at. So I did use TotalBoat wet edge, the TotalBoat wet edge paint. Turned out okay, not bad for a home job, I replaced all the teak and everything, put a stainless anchor on it, stuff like that. I got my forward mast crutch attached there. It was a complete redo of this boat. I redid everything. I put chain plates on, I replaced all the teak, painted the top, painted the bottom, painted the hull, put new lifelines on, which I made myself. We'll get up and take a look here in a minute at some of the equipment I've installed. But you'll notice here, like I was saying, this is the inboard. So you see the propeller there. I do need to add a new zinc still, but I'm working on that. A little work to the trailer. The trailer is actually in pretty good shape. So this boat met some unicorn-like requirements for me. It's the reason I drove all the way up to Alabama for it. I wanted the oval port lights as opposed to the round. I love these. They're fully bronze. They're great. I need to polish them up. It's on my list of things to do. But I wanted both these style port lights, and I wanted the 23D specifically so that I could do an inboard conversion. It was very hard to find, and when I found one, I had to jump on it. So I literally drove up there. I'll start up at the bow, and I'll just move aft and go over some of the things I've done. So this is the forward bronze cleat. I polished this up. I'll try to show a before and after picture of that. I still need to install the anchor chain and everything. I did get a stainless anchor for it. I replaced this teak, this forward teak. There was no saving what was there. So I replaced all the teak on the boat. It all had to be replaced. I painted the top. Again, I used the TotalBoat wet edge. I replaced electrical connections here for the mast. I replaced all the teak. This was the hard part. This was the hardest part of the teak to replace. The eyebrow, I think they call this. I had to make a little custom fixture. I'll try to put a picture of that here just to kind of show how that worked. But essentially I integrated the port lights and built some framing that basically held this up in place while I attached it and put the sealant and everything behind it and got the plugs in there and sanded it and got it all in position. So that was very challenging to do. It's actually one of the harder parts of the project. but it worked out okay in the end. It actually looks great in my opinion. I do need to hose the boat off. It's kind of dirty, but good enough to show. I don't yet have the tiller on, as you saw down there. I've got that all on the ground waiting to be put in place. I did work the cleats back there. I cleaned everything up, cleaned the bronze cleats off, had to pull them off. I still have the diesel tank in place. Well, the tank isn't in place, but the filler is. I pulled the tank, which was also hard. I had to remove part of the bulkhead to do that. I'll see if I can get some pictures. But I left the cap in place. I figured I may be able to use that for something in the future, and I just didn't feel like doing additional fiberglass work. Maybe that'll be on my list for next year. Chain plates are new. I put this little teak subfloor in. One thing about the compacts, there aren't too many design flaws to the compacts, but I do hate when I'm in rough waters in my 16. I hate that water comes into the, you know, basically gets up on your feet. And I just thought it would be nice to get up off of that. And so that's what this is. I made a custom, this is where the old engine control is. Let's look at the plastic on here. This is my battery monitor. Right now you can see I've got a 310 amp hour battery, which I built myself. This is the battery monitor, which still has the protective plastic on. So I can peel that off. That'll be fun. There we go. This is the ignition switch. This basically turns it on. And then this is the throttle, and it's got a forward and reverse. This is a shore power. I did install a shore power system. This allows me to just kind of plug up to 30 amp, like any sailboat really. And then that will bring power in. Let me see if I can show what's going on down here. This is what I'm calling my electrical room, if you will. Here's the inside of the shore power that I just showed. There's the inside of the throttle controller. I gotta clean these wires up yet. This here is the battery charger. So right now I've got it plugged right up to shore power. So if I hook shore power up, it'll immediately start charging the battery. I've got a solar system, which I still need to install and connect up to this, but I'll have 300 watts of 70 volt solar that will charge the motor bank, the drive system, which is inside the boat. I'll show that here in a minute. This is my house battery. It's a lithium iron phosphate battery, the only kind you want to use on a boat. It's 12 volt. It's only 100 amp hours. That should be more than enough for my house loads on this little boat. I'm just primarily going to day sail this boat. I would imagine my boy may want to spend a night on it once or twice, but I don't see me doing any cruising on this like I do or did on my Island Packet 27. I got a little 2000 watt inverter just in case if ever I'm out here, need my laptop, or I don't know, need to do some work. I know I need, you know, access to 120 volts. I got the inverter here, and all of that of course runs forward to the electrical panel. I did put a new electrical system in. We'll go and show that here in a sec. I built a door system. I kind of copied this design from my Island Packet. You know, I don't really like the sliding boards that you put in and out. I'm so used to running down below that I really wanted doors. There's nothing commercially available, so I tried my hands at woodworking here, and it turned out pretty good for an amateur. I did want to keep the bronze look, so I put bronze fittings on here, and I've got acrylic glass, and this is all teak. I bought some reclaimed teak, cut it to size, and you know, glossed it up with some Epifanes gloss, and it came out pretty good for an amateur, I would say. Let's take a look down below. It's coming down below here. Okay, down below now. Had to do a lot of cleanup down in here. I was gonna replace the cabin sole, but I used some oxalic acid to get it clean enough that I thought, this is good enough for now. Maybe that'll be a project for later down the road. So I cleaned that up a little bit and put some fresh gloss on there, and it turned out okay. I'm pretty happy with it for now. I think it'll be just fine. I gotta get this trim stuck back down. It looks like it keeps popping off. Let me just do a quick glance around. I wanted to have vinyl cushions like I have on my Island Packet, just because, I don't know, it's easier to keep clean. I got kids and stuff, and I don't know, it's just a lot easier to keep clean. I did buy a little toilet. I doubt we'll ever use that, but with kids on board, you never know. It's there if we need it in a pickle for the kids. That's my anchor locker up there. I need to put that line in. So not much to show up there. The sails were in great shape. They're actually like brand new sails, so I was pretty happy there. That was kind of a bonus when I bought this boat. I did install my own brass light here, just because, I don't know, the one that was there looked kind of dated. I put some instruments in just really for looks. Gotta clean the ports a little bit. Port lights are dirty. I put a new radio in here, and I just put a little US Bluetooth music box to listen to my phone. Here's my electrical panel. I replaced the standard electrical panel, used to be up here. I replaced this whole box, and I just built it fresh. The one that was here, I was trying to repair it, and it was so difficult. The only thing I really kept from it was the step and the front lid, and I just kind of rebuilt everything else. I had this made up, renamed the boat the Savannah Ivy. That's the name of the boat now, and so I just had a little step plate made up. Somebody printed that for me, or cast it out of bronze. I can't remember if I got that from India or somewhere. So that turned out okay. But I put this electrical panel in. Let me see if I can show it. And what this has now, just a little 12-volt system. It's got all my different circuits. This is a main battery switch off for the house battery. Just turned it on. You can see, like, here's my cabin lights, for example, my VHF, my anchor light, etc. Got a fan there. It's got a typical, like, the cigarette lighter outlet in case I ever need to plug in a 12-volt accessory. And then, of course, I've got some USBs here in case I want to charge things. And this is the new bilge pump switch. The switch that was on here was kind of old. Back there, it's kind of hard to see, but back there behind the sink, maybe I'll pull the sink out and show this. Okay, I didn't want to pull the sink out because I realized I have to disconnect the hose, the drain hose, water hose. So I'm just going to show it on this side. I've peeled it back a little bit here. And the way that let me see if I get some light in here. The way that I did the battery for this boat, this is the drive battery, not the house battery, but this is the battery that actually drives the boat. I didn't want to buy a commercial battery because I can typically build these better myself. And so what I did is I need 48 volts, nominal 48 volts. And so what I did is I built up two 24-volt batteries, and I placed them in series, one on the port side, one on the starboard side. And the reason I did that as opposed to one single 48-volt battery is because these batteries weigh about 100 pounds each, and I didn't want to have such a small boat that had 100 pounds of ballast on the port side, for example, but not also on the starboard. So I split it up to try to keep it evenly distributed, and this is what I came up with. So let me see if I can get in here and show this. Kind of hard to see because it's dark in here, but I'm using my phone. So I peeled this back a little bit. These are battery cells. I just, like typical, these are 3.65 nominal lithium iron phosphate battery cells, and I just wire them together in series, run them through this BMS, which is the battery management system, and hit up some blocks. I do the exact same thing on the other side, and I wire them up to the motor controller in series so that the motor controller is getting 48 volts. And then the whole thing is monitored up in the cockpit at the battery monitor on the key switch, which I showed moments ago. Let me go ahead and show the motor now. It's gonna take a sec. So if I lift this up, this is where we used to go to service the engine. Now you can see what is essentially my motor controller. Let me see, I got some lights I put in here. Let me see if I can turn them on. That switch. Okay, I'm gonna turn the lights on. So this is my motor controller. This is essentially where I bring that power in. I've got a main cutoff switch here, and the reason I do that is because I like to turn off power here without having to go back to the battery or the key switch if I'm working on the motor, or I don't know, troubleshooting a problem. You don't really have many problems with electric motors, but I don't know, maybe I'm down here to do something and I just want to be able to turn the power off. I do that as a safety. So basically this is just, it just brings the negative power to the controller so it can disrupt the circuit with just a flick of a switch, and I can turn it on and that will basically activate the circuit. This is the contactor, the relay essentially that gets this whole system going. Let me pull this back and show you how this connects up to the motor. Okay, so I pulled my access panel off and you can kind of see the motor here. Let me move this so I can get right in here. So here's the motor. I can pull this box away, but I don't know. I figured I'd just kind of creep in here. Here's the motor. This is a 10 kilowatt system. I did buy this from Thunderstruck. I buy most of my electrical components for these conversions from Thunderstruck. This is a 5 kilowatt system. I'm thinking of my old boat. And you can see down here, this is the old shaft that used to couple up to the transmission. Now it uses a flex coupling. These are typical for these type of installations. That flex coupling attaches to, you can see the main shaft right there, which goes out to the propeller through the tube there. I gotta move some of that wiring before I run this. And then this is the motor, and then it's got a gear reducer, and it's a 2-to-1 gear reduction on there just for efficiency. This plate and structure that I built here, this motor mount, essentially is, it just couples everything together. Here's the controller that I was showing a little while ago. This controller is attached to an aluminum plate, and the other side of the aluminum plate is this heat sink. And that just basically takes any heat out of here. This is a 5 kilowatt motor. I don't anticipate a lot of heat coming through here. Again, this is a day sailor, so I don't think I'm ever gonna be out, you know, motoring. Some days my island packet, I would motor all day for 10 hours and, you know, it would get a little hot. I don't anticipate that being the case with this. I'm gonna mostly just day sail this, and unless I'm in a pickle or something, I don't see me really motoring for more than, I don't know, half an hour at a time. So anyway, so that is the electrical system in a nutshell. Down in the build, one interesting thing I did with this box is I ran all of my, see if I can reach it. You can see it right there, that connector. You see, am I pointing to it? Yeah, that connector right there. If I disconnect that, I can completely remove the box. I brought all of my connections that come up to the electrical panel into that one connector so that I can completely unplug and remove the box. I did build some extra length into it so that I can just pull it out kind of like I did here. But if ever I'm doing anything like, you know, if I decide I want to replace the motor or do something significant in here, maybe if I swap out the belt, at some point I'll need to swap the belt. It's about the only maintenance you have to do on an electric motor. You know, I'll need to probably remove the box so I can sit in there properly. But yeah, I wired it up like so, and I brought it up to the electrical panel. I put a couple of LED lights up in here. Turn these off. They're super, super bright, and they hardly consume any power at all. So a lot of upgrades from the original 1990s design, you know, just with more modern parts, more modern technology. So we'll see how this does on the water. I'm expecting pretty good performance from this system. Let's drop the camera down there. Here's my bilge pump and float switch. And then this right here is the hose for my manual bilge pump, which is up top. You know, you want to have both. Pretty dry bilge for now, at least. We'll see how that looks once I start sailing it. One of the hardest things to do on this boat was that damn packing seal on the back there. It was very difficult to get in there. Have to pull the box out and everything to do that. So hopefully when I put this in the water, it's not dripping too much. But that drip seal was not a lot of fun. Okay, so just demonstrate how this works here. This is the key switch. Like I said, this is my battery capacity. So when I'm ready to run the boat, I just turn this as if I'm starting a motor, although you don't get the beep and the annoying sounds of starting up a diesel. And then this is my throttle. So I've got forward and reverse. So I would just toggle it forward. You can probably hear it humming a little. Or I would do the same thing, but in reverse. If I wanted to go backwards, you can hear it humming a little. Sound a little quieter in the water. Close these up. The back side of these doors were a little trickier to do. I had to use pocket holes to join these pieces up, and then I had to water jet a frame, an aluminum frame, to hold that plexiglass acrylic in place. But you know, it turned out okay. Like I said, not bad for an amateur. One of my favorite additions to this boat was I replaced the forward cowl vent. You know, they're typically nylon on these boats, but I replaced it with a stainless version. I so badly wanted this in bronze, and I tried to get it, but the supplier was having trouble getting it for me. So in the end, I settled for stainless, and it looks pretty good. So really just meant to be a classy touch. I got some paint overspray here. I'm gonna have to clean that up. But yeah, I really wanted this in bronze. I thought that would have looked great, but it wasn't meant to be, so we had to settle for stainless. I did replace, I replaced these cleats here. This will be where I put my my jib sheets, my Genoa sheets, whatever you want to call them. I need to plug these still. I'm not too worried about it because this is going to be a garage kept boat for the most part. I mean, I may put it in the water from time to time, but it's generally going to stay here in my garage. But I went with oak for these. I had these cut out of oak, and I put a little sealer on them. We'll see how they hold up. But I just wanted a little touch of wood in here to go along with these bronze guys right here. So we'll see how they hold up. This is the shore power inlet. It's super simple for this boat. Just a standard plug. I do have an adapter because if ever I'm pulling this boat into a marina, which I doubt I'll be doing very often, but maybe if I need to, I can. Some blood of mine right there. Let me see if I can get that off. That's where I drilled into my finger by holding the other side of the template. But in any event, I've got an adapter so I can plug into a standard shore power and then just bring in you know, this is a standard 15 amp plug. Maybe if I'm out sailing, or maybe I do want to spend an overnight on this boat and I want to go charge up somewhere. I doubt I'll need to. Once I've got the solar system installed, I should have 300 watts, and just based on my calculations and my experience with my island packet, which weighs more than twice what this weighs, displaces over 8,000 pounds, and this is 3,000, I believe. So I should be just fine. I doubt I'll ever really need to charge, but I could bring it home and charge in the garage. I'm going to do a test sail of this here soon, and when I do, I'll show the actual solar system that will attach up to this here, and bring power into that main battery. And here she is. Oh wait, just a side note, this is the gin pole that I designed up to raise the mast with. We'll see how this works. I'm about to try it here in a day or two. I need to make a slight adjustment to my my rear mast crutch. I noticed it's just a hair too long to get in and out of the garage. So here it is. All this is just simple 2x4. I made a kind of a T cross section there, put a roller on top, and just kind of framed it out. Super lightweight. But I need to trim it down a hair, of course. So I'm gonna have to pop these out, cut a little bit off, and get it back on there. So all on my list of things to do here in the coming days. Quick look at my aft mast crutch. I had to shorten it a little. I couldn't quite get under my garage door, and with the mast on it would have been even worse. But, just a quick look at what I did here. You zoom out a little, you can kind of see I've got 3 anchor points here, here, and here. And all I did was I got a little quick release pin, and I've got some pieces of aluminum angle that I machined to put some holes in them. and I pop a pin through all 3 of these. I'll get some lanyards, and that should be good enough to hold it in place. I got a wheel on top here, so I can roll the mast backwards and clip it in up there into its tabernacle there, and you can kind of see the forward one way up there. That one's a lot easier. I use the same design here, but I just got a little V block sitting on some aluminum angle for the forward part of the mast to sit on. Okay, it's got the ladder installed here, and it's the best part of having a petite wife. I have her down in the hole there, working the back side of the bolts for me. Gotta pick this butyl tape off. How is it up there, guys? We got the family up here now. They're just scoping it out. There's the Savannah Ivy herself, who the boat is named after. And they're up there scoping things out, giving it a look.
Daddy, I'm gonna say if it's good or bad, the boat.
Okay, you're gonna give your opinion. She's the critic. A few other things to do. I still need to install the autopilot, which I'll do, I don't know, maybe next weekend. That should be pretty easy because it's just a tiller pilot. Some work I want to do to the trailer. Want to polish the ports and whatnot, but it's just about there. I'd say it's about 90% there. My next video, I'm going to actually bring it out for a test sail and test that electric motor. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so I got the aft mast crutch in place. I got these guys up here. There's my boy. There's Savannah. There's my bride. They're scoping it out. A little messy down here because I got the stove drawer out and everything.
What's that all about?
That is the stove. I need to put it back in position. I moved it out because I was just getting in there by the battery earlier.
Daddy, where's the shower?
There's no shower. This is not our other boat. This is a different boat. This is a day sailor.
How are we gonna take showers?
Yep. So
I don't need them.
we need another boat. We need a bigger boat. Okay. Just kind of wrapping up for the day here. I just got the ladder and the rudder on. I say I've got the rudder on, but I haven't really because right now I've just got a little, I think it's a 5/16 screw or something holding it here. I'm gonna get some proper pins to go through there, but I just wanted to kind of get it fit up, make sure everything fits. I still need to put the tiller on, obviously. I wanted to give a couple quick product endorsements here from this project because a few things made this a lot easier. First of all, this is the Ruddercraft makes these. They make them for the 16 as well. I believe they make them for a whole series of sailboats, but they're pretty good. Their service is good. Their prices are good. They make them pretty quick. And like I said, the performance when I put it on the gumdrop, I haven't tested this one yet, but I would imagine it'll be proportional to what I experienced with the gumdrop. When I put this one on my 16, the performance was just a completely different sailboat. So by the way, I've got my old rudder blades here from both the 23 and the 16. So if anyone out there is looking for a rudder blade for either of those boats, those are up for grabs. They're free. If anybody wants them, just let me know and you can come get them. A couple other products worth noting from this project is there's a mess down here, but the wet edge series of paints. They're pretty good for the do-it-yourselfer. I'm awful at painting, so you know I probably made it a lot harder than it meant to be. I think some of mine were maybe I mixed it a little too thin, but it worked out in the end. And of course I used their primer. This is my favorite varnish, the Epifanes wood finish gloss, particularly specifically. This one is great. It gives a really nice finish. It does take a long time to dry compared to some of the, I know TotalBoat does a great one too called Lust, which dries really fast. You can recoat that in like 45 minutes, but I really like this one, and I use it with the specific brush thinner that they make to go with it. I've had a really good experience with this on several of my boats. So those are great products as well. This one's kind of messy to see, but this is the TotalBoat Underdog bottom paint. This is the first time I used this paint, and I gotta say I was impressed. When I first opened it up, I thought maybe something was wrong with it because there were so much solids in it. It didn't feel right, and so I started mixing it using this guy on a drill. And hey, Rufus. And at first I thought for sure something must be wrong. This doesn't feel right, but I gave it a good 10-minute mix and it came out great and it went on great and it looks really good on the bottom of the boat compared to some of the other ablatives that I've used in the past. It's just a really good bottom paint, really good quality. You can feel it. So highly recommend that product as well. And of course, highly recommend Thunderstruck EV for their, their electrical motor products. They put these kits together specifically for sailboats, and they're great. They work great. They perform great. They're pretty intuitive. Anybody could put one together. And then of course there's always the good old Hutchins factory. If you need the new pieces of teak or something, I got all of mine from those guys. They were great. They cut me some new pieces right away, and I went and picked them up at the factory. I don't live too far from the factory, so it's pretty easy. So highly recommend those guys too if you're restoring one of these old compacts.